Hey guys, Michael Furlong here from Rentroll Maximiser, and I have the pleasure of having a good catch up and good chat with running a couple of sessions today around the issue that both Mark Appleby from Buckmaster Hawkey and I have been sharing and talking about for at least 15 years. Mark, hello and welcome.
Hi Michael, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my friend. And that issue that we're talking about is staff issues that the real estate sector is facing. Let's talk really more around Melbourne, Victoria, because that's where we're both based. But sure. I would imagine this is Australia-wide, where there's an issue at the moment with property managers, sales, all staff in the industry. It's pretty tight at the moment if you're an agency principal.
Absolutely, particularly some skill sets more than others, Michael.
Yeah, and so Mark, tell me a little bit about your business. So you're a recruitment agency. Is it an agency, a company? How do I describe it best?
Yes, agency is the best way to describe it because we have, like real estates, we have client and candidate that we're the conduit in the middle. So agency recruitment is what Buckmaster Hawkey does to cover temporary appointments, permanent and contract.
So you're working solely in the real estate sector. You don't vary from that. We chatted about that. So Mark, tell me firstly, let's talk about permanent staff for now. So sure. For example, when I had my agency, which has been a while now, but let's just say I had the agency and I needed either a salesperson, an admin, reception, property management is probably one that you would recruit the most. But if I was looking for those, why wouldn't I simply just place an ad on Seek and do it all myself and save paying somebody else? What's the benefits of bringing in a recruiter?
Okay, so great question. Firstly, putting an ad on Seek and doing it yourself, Michael, is only targeting the active job seeker. So that's somebody who's in the market that's looking at Seek ads on the day. Yes. That's the first point. The second point being, by engaging a recruitment agency like ourselves, you're accessing our database of candidates, which is made up of active job seekers and passive. So those passive ones are people that might come to us who aren't desperately unhappy, register and give us their career wish list and say, hey, look, when you've got a role that meets A, B, and C, I'd like to hear from you. So you're actually accessing that as well as us casting the net through all the other methodologies that we use to source candidates. And I think the third point is, particularly in a candidate short market, Michael, if it was candidate rich, then the need for a recruiter would be less because you'd have more success in your Seek ad, attracting, perhaps a handful of suitable candidates that you could then sort the wheat from the chaff and make the successful hire. But the harder the skill set is to hire for, the more a recruiter comes into play.
Now, Mark, you're talking about a candidate rich environment. How long have you been in this game?
20 years, Michael.
And I've been in real estate 20 years. When does that actually happen, that candidate-rich environment? Because it's never happened while I've been in.
I'm yet to see it, Michael.
Yep.
I think the only role you could actually probably say where it might be a situation is if it's an entry-level position where a client is happy to take someone on with zero experience.
And that's really part of the problem, isn't it? We've spoken about that numerous times. Where, at the moment, I imagine, Mark, so roughly, I think you were telling me some numbers when we chatted just recently. Roughly how many, so let's just talk about property management roles. How many property management roles do you have at the moment on your books?
Permanent roles at the moment, we've got 30 portfolio manager roles.
And how many of those, as a key selection criteria, experienced?
99%.
I rest my case. I rest my point. It's silly, isn't it? We're in an industry where we want people to be experienced, but unfortunately we don't want to train them. And then when they come along, they've got bad habits. We want those to be trained out, and it's the whole model just doesn't work. And which I imagine you're in the same line of work that I'm in, Mark, and that is that I work in the space of helping real estate agencies build their business. You work in the space of helping real estate agents when they've got a problem. So I'm working when they've got a problem. You're working when they've got a problem. We're in exactly the same space. I don't think we're ever going to run out of clients.
No, I don't think we're going to run out of clients. I guess the industry, I think, needs to have a little bit of shift in thinking, which you've always been a progressive thinker yourself, Michael, when I recruited for you at MAP. As you know, the program that you and I are working on hopefully will largely address that. But, it's an age-old problem, particularly a shortage of residential property managers, even commercial, which in my 20 years of recruiting, it's only really got worse. And there's a number of reasons for that, which I'm happy to share now if you would like.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit, but tell me a little bit about, so from a candidate point of view, that's probably what I want to get my head around right now. So from an agency point of view, I can understand why they would be using a recruiter, but why do they use you? So Is it because of relationships? Is it marketing, Google? How do you get yourself out into the industry? How do you pick up your clients?
Sure. Okay. It really comes back to the founders of the company and the style of recruitment that they have always subscribed by. And I was mentored through, Michael, which is a consultative style of recruiting, not just flicking resumes and hoping it sticks. So that's got a lot to do with it. And largely because our brand's been in Melbourne for 40 years, there's still business owners out there that they're mature now, but they have known us for years. I think their numbers and they've been in their mobile phone for years. So a lot of our business, we're in the fortuitous position, just walks through the door or phones through the front, through the telephone system. So our brand and our reputation is what gets a lot of repeat business, and some of these relationships, like I say, one of my best, I've got a number of very good clients that I've recruited for, but Buckmaster Hawkey's first client from 1981 is still one of our major clients 40 years later.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? Same principles?
Same principle.
So back in 1981, it was the same principle that used you then?
Yes.
And they're now still using you?
Yep, absolutely. We know their business and their culture inside out. So that, hopefully that addresses your point about why us.
Yep. And it's important, Mark. And I think we've spoken about this, and I've been a strong advocate of Buckmaster Hawkey, but probably I'm not really a big one for brands. It's the people behind the brand. So I've been a strong advocate of yours for many, many years, because you've invested the time to try and find out about where I was heading in my agency and what the direction was, and what sort of candidate would fit and not fit. Mark, talking about that, I'm sure that with some agencies, there's just some agencies that are just not good business. You just wouldn't take them on, because at the end of the day, you're also representing the candidate as well. So there's a foot in both camps.
Absolutely. Look, we're career advocates for our candidates. It's what we like to align ourselves as career partners with candidates, not just grab your resume, flick it all over Melbourne and hope it sticks. So like we do with our clients, we do the same with our candidates with regards to understanding their career aspirations, what's important to them about company, culture, size of company, technology, dollars, location, all those things. And you need to ask questions and listen as a consultant to understand that. So then when you're placing a candidate responsibly, you can put them into an environment that you've matched up with your client. So, sorry, I've lost my train of thought with that, Michael.
That's okay. That's okay. No, so talk to me a little. Tell me a little about your what makes you different. And we'll talk to a little bit more about your relationships, your longevity. What is it that you do differently? So why, if I'm a principal, why would I use you? And would I guess the next question, be using you exclusively? Would I just come to you and say, Mark, I've got this job, you're now my go-to, or am I trying to handle it myself, or am I shopping it out to 5 recruiters? How does that work?
It's a little bit like real estate, in that an open listing for a property for sale, Michael's not overly popular, and agents don't spend a lot of time on it. So for us, exclusive is the way that we prefer. But then having said that, in some extreme candidate short skill sets, Michael, we don't even ask for exclusivity, because if we can't deliver, we don't want to put ourselves in that position. We may ask for a short period of time in order to tip our database upside down, give it a rattle over, say, the course of a few days, go back to the client, say, yes, we've got someone, no, we don't. But largely, we try to work with our clients as a partner. And why they would use us rather than fill it out to 5 other agencies is that those other recruitment agencies, I can't account for how those consultants operate. I can only account for how we do, which is a thorough consultative process with our clients. We don't send resumes. We talk to our clients about people. Yeah. So I think a lot of our clients resonate with that, and that's a difference that they like. They know that they like the fact we like them. They like the fact if we don't have anyone suitable, we'll tell them that. We don't just send them a candidate or a resume for the sake of sending a candidate. So the whole point of why, as an agency principal, real estate will engage us is they're busy in their day. They're good at what they do. If they brief us to act as their partner to find them staff, and we understand the types of people that work, then we're only putting candidates in front of them that are in keeping with what they've asked for.
So Mark, just on that, if I was a real estate principal and I was looking for a new entry level, the issue that would probably be bugging me would be the fact that I'd be inundated with applications. I've got to sort through it all. So there's a lot of time wasted. The other end of the spectrum is that if I'm looking for a specific role or a senior role, it'd be, you couldn't find them. So you're in the process of, you're saying you have a candidate database, but you've also got a client. So you're really matchmaking the two from a cultural fit, a vision, a training, an environment, because that's really important now, isn't it?
Very. I mean, it is. I mean, culture's king. Real estate is a people industry, as is recruitment. The only difference between our two industries is the commodity. In real estate, it's property. Yes. In recruitment, it's people. So with real estate being a people-oriented industry, culture is king, almost more so than the experience of the candidate. That fit, Michael, is critical. And that's another big reason why we take the time when we meet our clients to understand what it is, to get that match right. Hence why we've had repeat business and loyal clients for years, because we get it right. Or if we don't have someone, we don't waste the client's time putting people in front that are inappropriate. So it is critical.
And I think that, so how much responsibility do you take on board that you're also matchmaking from the candidate's point of view, that you're advocating culture and environment and skill sets of the job? You sort of would take that on board as well.
Absolutely. So when we interview a candidate, Michael, I call it their wish list, and we go through and we build it. Before I even talk about, my consultants and I, before we talk about any job specific roles, we want to hear from a candidate what's important to them rather than us just sell them a job. And you have to ask questions, and every candidate has different motivating factors depending on where they are at with their career and what's important to them. So you have to ask questions to understand that. So a good interview for us can be anywhere, depending on the experience of the candidate, anywhere between 30 minutes to 60 minutes to go through an interview process. And once we've got that understanding, that information is recorded on our software available to all our consultants. So if any of our consultants are looking at that candidate's file, they can access what's important to that candidate. If they've got a role they're recruiting for, give the candidate a call and then start talking to them about it.
Yep. And Mark, my understanding of your business model is you also offer a guarantee with when the people first start. So it's important, I guess, for you to make sure that I use the hand in glove scenario, that the candidate does fit within that organisation, because otherwise it comes back and bites you, doesn't it?
It does. Look, no recruiter likes having a replacement on their hands, Michael, but with human beings, you can't guarantee human beings. Hence why replacement benefits are a common thing within recruitment fees and agency practice. And the reason for that is some things can happen after the candidates start that are beyond anyone's control or foresight, that may not have been able to have been unearthed through the recruitment process. An example of that is somebody might have started with you, Michael, and 2 weeks later they've got a parent in Queensland that gets cancer.
Yep.
They're diagnosed, they have to resign and go. Now that's impossible to foresee that prior to the hire actually happening. So the replacement benefit there, I call it like insurance for a client. I say, because some clients say to me, "Oh, Mark, I'd like 6-month replacement, not 3," because we're negotiable with how we do our fees and the replacement benefits. So I say to a client, well, look, the longer guarantee you want, it's like having a higher cover in insurance, so you pay a higher premium. So we're very negotiable around tailoring our fee structures and keeping with what's important to a client about that replacement benefit length or time frame.
Mark, I was in the back of my mind before you even said about that scenario with the parent and going to Queensland. One of my clients, which we were working on together, I did some final interviews, and there was a candidate in there which I wasn't overly comfortable with, but the client decided to go ahead. I was doing some interviews for them, and they were there for 4 days. The candidate was 4 days, and then all of a sudden, his mother-in-law in Singapore, was diagnosed with cancer. The family had to then drop and go. So he gave 10 minutes notice on the way to the airport. They were going. They were dropping the keys off and said, I've been here for 4 days, but I'm now no longer able to do it. Here's the keys. Here's the phone. See you later. I'm sure you've got lots and lots of stories like that. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today, Mark. Buckmasterhawkey.com.au is the place to find you.
That's the place. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, my friend. Bye for now.
Bye.